Hello, what are we called? It's been a while since I've been on one of these. We are Bergkamp Wonderland, and this is ABW Live. Oh, I really said nearly, Danny, nearly the wrong acronym. I nearly said we were those other people. Jason would have absolutely killed me. Look, even my YouTube is on as well. Danny, this is an absolute failure.
It's been too long, Josh. How was sunny Brighton? That's where you've been for the whole of Christmas.
I have. I was there for 3 weeks, and it was a lot nicer than the north. That's why the Leeds fans were so happy in the Arsenal stadium, because they weren't in Yorkshire.
Do you know where our guest is from?
No, but this is why we should do pre-introductions, but we didn't do anything because Jason's here. So I should introduce Jim, who I presume is in Yorkshire.
Yeah, basically. I'm from Leeds, I suppose. So yeah.
Oh, there we go. See, Danny, you've already got me in my foot. I will ask you, Danny, why is your Christmas tree still up?
Hold on, Sean. Why is the Christmas tree still up? Oh, somebody's got tonsillitis, and I can't do it. And I had to go at the tree. I got the first layer of ball things down. The tree fell on me, and I had to get the fireman to come and rescue me. So I'm not doing it again this year.
Fair enough. Right, let's talk to the chat box as well, because there's 67 people here. Oh, so close to the magical number. Is that Arian Hadari? No, it's not. It's Brendan Almeida has just come in with some Aussie dollary doos. You should hold on to those, or at least get yourself a hose. But he says, Happy New Year's, up the Arsenal. I can see Corey is in there. Danny the GFP, he's in there. Carlito Gooner, Andy R, Archie. I think Ant 2365 is also in there. Thank you very much for the donation. And Stefan Selby, David, shout oi, Peter Coulson. Wow. So many of you in there. It's strange doing one of these again. I've just forgotten what we do, Danny. Should we start? Do we talk about the game?
Well, first, Brendan messaged us last week and said he's very sorry he couldn't make it. I think he said he was asleep. I was talking to him on Twitter. So, yeah, thank you very much for that. And also, there was somebody else. I can't remember his name on Twitter. We follow each other. It was Richard. No, Richard sent us some money. Who was it? Wait a sec. Wait there. Just hold your horse. Someone sent us £25 English via PayPal. So the least I could do is interrupt the show. Who was it? Oh, the bearded dragon, Van Helsing. Very kind. We had a little chat. I said, thank you very much for sending that. I tried to get him on because he's a bit of a dapper dresser, but I don't think he's up for it. So there you go. That's someone who sent us some money via PayPal. Thank you very much. It's all going to be spent on, I don't know really what we're going to spend it on. Cake?
No, like something to make Jason happy.
That's not going to happen. People are asking if Jim is a Leeds fan. It's not. It's Jim who's in the bloody. He's in the box every week. Jim Howson always chucking us a couple of quid down Jason's dirty wife fronts, aren't you, Jim?
Yeah, that's me. Yeah, the one that's keeping the Ramsey dolls in stock. You know.
Was it you that sent it to Jace?
No, I won't go that far.
Okay, we're going to shut up now and let Josh get on with it.
Let's talk about the lineups. Because, Danny, I'm going to ask you, was it three? Everyone said it was three at the back, all the Twitter experts, with that lineup. What did you think of it when you first saw it?
Well, I thought, hold on, why are those three playing there, but then why is Sokratis drifting out all the way to the right? And I thought, well, Saka can't be playing right back. No, not. I'm looking at the end of the game, beginning of the game. Nelson can't be playing there because he's going to play on the left side or behind them. Oh, no, he's going to be playing at left back. And I thought, well, hold on, Kolasinac is playing at the left back. And then I think I have no idea who is doing what. Because when you see them play, it was looking like it was playing three at the back. And I thought Kolasinac is going to play left wing back. And I was thinking, well, maybe Pepe is playing right wing back. And I thought, no, there's no way you can rely on Pepe to track back and do all of that lot. And then after about 25 minutes, I noticed that Sokratis was really out on the right-hand side and he was staying there. And I thought, well, there you go. That's what he's doing. He's playing four at the back, not three at the back. He bowled us all a googly. I think Clive on Twitter said that we were playing the wrong formation with the right players. And I think that kind of summed it up perfectly.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Jim,
I was confused.
Yeah, Jim, what did you reckon to that lineup? Were you as confused as Danny, if that's possible?
Yeah, I know I tweeted and messaged people saying, it's three at the back and Nelson's a wing back and like pretty much everybody else. But then Sokratis decided he was a right back, and I thought he didn't have pace, so I was quite surprised.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to the start of the game, and well, I could do 45 minutes of waxing lyrical about Bielsa, because I don't think there's anything else truly to talk about with how we really played. But Jim, how did you feel with that kind of first half? Because Leeds were just dominant, weren't they? They were a team that were well drilled.
Well, obviously coming from Leeds, I kind of go to the altar of Bielsa quite a lot, but it was quite intense. The pressing was non-stop, and it was a bit like they'd create the chances and catch Xhaka every time on the ball, but then it just wouldn't go in. So it was kind of good for Arsenal, but bad for Leeds fans.
Yeah, definitely. I think they had that moment 14 minutes in, Danny, with Bamford hitting the bar. I mean, if he was Eddie Nketiah, that goes in, right?
Have we up to 40 minutes already?
14.
14?
Sorry, I've been in the South so long that I've got my Southern accent back.
yeah. That was just before it came up on the screen where it said attempts. We had 1, they've had 7, and Ozil and Lacazette looking lost in the notes that I've made. Can I just read that tweet that I was on about Clive? He's put. I'll wait for you to say yes, I can.
Yes, you can, Danny.
Thank you very much. I forgot you're in charge. He's put half time. This is Clive PAFC on Twitter. System over personnel. That's brilliant. Team screams a 3-4-2-1, but we are playing a 4-2-3-1 and completely lost our distance. So then we see fragility and running backwards. Don't panic. A good test. We will be so interesting to see if we can react and what Arteta does. Clive is just so wise when it comes to tactics and stuff like that. So, yeah, Bamford was brilliant. You can see why now that Eddie Nketiah wasn't getting that many games, because when you got someone like Bamford who was on, and although we're 10th in the Premier League, we are a much better team than that. We're top 6 team probably with the players we've got when we're all playing well together. And Bamford had a hell of a day. He was unlucky not to Scotty said unlucky. Jesus, where's that come from?
It's catching, isn't it?
It's you two. It's you two Northern monkeys. It's plus someone else in the room has spent the last 3 years in Nottingham. Jesus, it's a nightmare. I'm surrounded. Yeah,
it's so in the north.
Anywhere further than Peterborough, the bloody north. So it's very unlucky. He's a hell of a player though. But now we can understand why Nketiah didn't play, because he was lively and like you said, he hit the post. Did he hit the bar or the post, or are they the same thing? They know they're connected.
I probably did both, to be honest. In that first half, we were absolutely woeful.
Woeful wasn't the point. It wasn't an understatement. It was absolutely horrendous. I put our defence standing out of the way and turning their backs. When they do that after 12 minutes, you're thinking, "Oh dear, this isn't going to end well." But what little did we know?
Yeah, Jim, did you think we looked tired in that first half? Was that perhaps that was the reason why we were that kind of lackadaisical with our play?
Yeah, I think Arsenal seemed to be, I don't know, maybe lacking energy, and it looked like Arsenal were the team that had played more games than Leeds, and you just wondered at that point if it was going to be quite embarrassing, to be honest, because of how the disparity between the energy levels.
Yeah, definitely. Go on. Yeah, you've got.
Sorry, I was just 30 minutes. I've got down that Leeds have got 66% possession, which really just showed the difference, really.
Yeah, it looked like it was almost our game plan, wasn't it, to just kind of sit off them? Although it didn't look like we had much of a plan at that point. Michael Hahnemann has stuffed £5 into your box of briefs, Danny.
I don't own underwear, Josh. I'm a man of the 70s.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He's just thrown it into that hedgerow, that thicket.
Mike, can you read out Michael's message?
Yes, I am just about to. Much better in the second half. After a dreadful performance, Arteta got into them at the break and we looked more on it. Leeds unfortunate to go out. Yeah, I think that we'll get to the second half, and at that point we'll turn our frowns upside down and it'll be a lot more positive. We did have a couple of chances though, just in 30 minutes, Danny, with a corner from Ozil.
See if I've made a note on this.
This is where Louise missed the header.
Louise getting for actually, because it's good when I make notes, people, because then I remember what happened. I did notice that at this point, just before that corner, down the left-hand side, it was Kolasinac and Nelson, and they're running down there and they're doing stuff. Then out of the mists, from behind them comes running through this golden fluffy. He's not golden haired, is he? This man with all this wonderful flowing locks. I thought, is that Chris Carpenter? Certainly wasn't Chris Carpenter. It's only bloody Louise, isn't it? He comes and joins in with it, and then he gets the ball, and I think we got a free kick, and then he took the free. Did he take? No, he took a shot. The shot went off of someone, and then we got a corner. Ozil, which is where you got up to. Ozil took the corner, and he had a header on target, didn't he? Was it on target, or did it?
It was just wide, I think.
Yeah. I thought I was going to shout at the screen because, the players do listen when we shout at the screen. I was going to go, what are you doing, Louise? You can't leave. We only had one centre-back on the pitch because Pappy isn't a proper centre-back. And I thought, if they make a run and break, which it looked like they have got the energy and the players to do, then you're going to be having either Xhaka is going to have to kill someone or Holding's going to have to be the man on his own because God knows Pepe would be over in the corner playing tiddlywinks or something. So I'm glad I didn't shout now because, that was a pretty decent bit of play.
Yeah, and I think just after that, Jim, we have that save from Martinez, which is probably our star thing of that first half. I've got it down as being a bit like Seaman versus Sheffield United. Yeah, because they're in red. What did you reckon to that save as well? Because I think it was Sokratis that came off.
Oh, yeah. It was, honestly, the Yorkshire part in me celebrated that. I thought it was going in. I was surrounded by Yorkshire people watching the game, so obviously I had to. But I had no idea how that didn't go in. And I think in these kind of games, you see Martinez pulling saves like that, and it makes you realise that he's not as bad as you'd think like a deputy goalkeeper would be. But I was going to say that Harrison was having loads of joy in the first half because he was just running the game in the first half on that right. And I think part of that was because of, who was it? There was just no tracking back from the wide midfielders as well.
Yeah, because he was up against Kolasinac, wasn't he?
Yeah.
In that first half with Alioski on the other side. And I would say anyone that listened to the Football Hipsters when we did that show all those times ago, remember I absolutely love Jack Harrison as a player. And he really, as you say, ran that show in that first half. And I think, to be honest, was one of the things that helped us was when they moved him to the opposite flank.
Yeah.
When they took Alioski off. But the next thing I've got is Papa versus the fans. Danny, I think this was a little bit like when someone shouts at you to move and you're like, nah, I'm all right, thanks. Was that what went on with there?
I think that was a build-up of quite a few things. Like a couple of people have said in the chat box that that Guendouzi had to cover for him quite a few times, whether it meant coming into the box, getting the ball, bringing it out. And on the point I made, I wrote this down was, I've lost it already. No, that's not it. I'm just reading it a second ago about him standing out of the way and then their player gets a cross in and then I thought he's a terrible right back. He's doing absolutely nothing with that and that was really annoying. And then so it looks like the ball had gone out for a throw in and then they were shouting at him to get on with it. And I think I didn't have time to rewind it because I was watching it on the BBC feed online. That was 2 minutes behind the actual game. It's horrendous and the quality wasn't that good. Because Sean was watching something on telly. And then he goes like that, calm down, all right, steady, in a minute. I thought, well, no, you need to pull your finger out your arse and get going, son, because you're having a bloody nightmare. He will never play it right back again. I'd like to see almost any one of our other players at right back, because someone summed his ability up at right back here, Steph Okayas, but Papa moves like a Greco-Roman wrestler.
I think Michael has nailed it as well. And I'm going to say Michael said it rather than... Who did we have as commentary? Danny Murphy. Oh, the man that looks like a bulldog who's deep-throated a stinging nettle covered in piss. That Sokratis just wanted a breather. I think that's bang on. Yeah, he looked absolutely knackered. He was just chasing Alioski in his shadow for that first half. So I think I've quite nicely glossed over that first half. As you think. Sorry, Joe, we could go more into how well Leeds played, but
I mean, I've made all
unfortunately-
these notes, and I'm not allowed to read any of them.
do you want to read the second half ones? Because we've got loads on the second half, and we were actually good then.
How about the halftime stats? We had 3 shots at goal. We had 3 shots at target, 1 on target. Goal, 1 on target. So I've just wrote the numbers here down. I haven't put anything else. I'm having to figure out what the hell I'm on about because I was in that hurry. Then they had 15 shots, 5 on target. We had 37% possession, and they had 63. How is that even possible? And pass completion rate, I think this was the most telling bit for us. 71% for us, 85% for them. Shocking, wasn't it? But you're looking at the first half, that was shocking, but you look at that in the context of what the result was and the fact that it's back-to-back wins and back-to-back clean sheets, we can't complain, can we?
No, and you managed to catch me just as I was sipping my tea.
Sorry, I'm reading it. Oh, there you go. Actually, I forgot to highlight it when Brendan and Michael gave us some money, so there you go. There's one from Ed for you, Josh.
Thank you very much, Ed. My wife fronts are very dirty at the moment. I had chickpeas for dinner, and my God, I had to light at least 3 scented candles afterwards.
Oh, did you get him off a Carl? Because he's a man who likes a scented candle.
I haven't. He needs to hook me up with his dealer of scented candles.
Oh, look, there's Jim. No. That's the Jim that's there every week.
Well, hang on. Oh, I'm seeing double. It's mad.
Hold on, someone just... Oh, yeah, a little bit of political breaking news there. Julian Nagelsmann says, Danny, Chomp is going to start a war now, and I'm trying to win the Bundesliga. So, what bad time. Sorry, Julian. Is there anything we can do about this, Josh? Tweet him and tell him to behave.
To be fair, I read that as Danny Trump. I thought that was your new name.
I don't talk about my old surname before I changed it by default. We'll move on from that.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to get caught up in the political issues of the Middle East. It's not my specialist subject. Not one for this podcast either. Yeah, shall we swiftly move? But what did you think of that? What did you think of that first half, Danny? With those kind of stats, looking
at my notes, it was Guendouzi. People are saying that Guendouzi had a bad game. I think I've known in previous games that he's all over the place. Now this time, when he was all over the place, he was actually covering really well, picking up lost balls, creating stuff in midfield. Although none of it really worked. But the main thing that I put here that is the highlight of my first half was. Oh, there you go. I found that thing about him at right back. 27th minute, their player walked past Pappy at right back and crossed. Martinez saved the resulting header. I knew it was there somewhere. And that other one I made about Ozil. 4 times now, Ozil has tracked back all the way and just stands there, making up the numbers and not getting stuck in. And Lacazette, how many more chances does Lacazette need? Because we saw in the second half, he was getting frustrated and kicking out at a player that he was lucky to get away with. But the first half, I'd think... magnificent display by Martinez. If Leno does go, I think that he could well be our number 1 goalkeeper because he's going to save us a fortune. Because I don't think he's had a bad game yet, has he? Apart from the Liverpool one where he let in 5 goals, but we're not going to talk about that. Greatest team in the world and all that. So I think the Lacazette and Ozil been absolutely. I'm not going to say useless, but I don't think the midfielder did give them anything that they could have done with. Although you think that is it their job to create stuff and go back and get the ball and create stuff, like Sanchez used to do. If it weren't working, he'd go back and get the ball and do all the magic himself. So very frustrating.
Yeah, Jim, what did you make to our? I'm going to say midfield, but you're going to have to kind of understand the concept of a midfield of what we were trying to achieve because it wasn't there in that first half. How well did Leeds kind of achieve the fact that our midfield looked missing in there?
Yeah, I think Xhaka especially, he's quite strange how Xhaka in the first half had barely any legs, but in the second half he was running around a lot. But I think there was a big difference between Leeds had the 3 with Phillips in DM, but then Arsenal just had Ozil pretty much supposedly like the commentator said that Ozil was marking Phillips, which seems kind of the wrong way around.
Yeah, I did. I heard him say that, and I thought, well, he's not really marking him; he's just standing near him. It's not marking really at all, is it?
I know exactly. I think if he just stood around someone without actually trying to tackle them, I wouldn't call that marking.
Especially if there was no marking going on or touching, kicking or shoving.
Yeah, definitely. What about kind of Xhaka's fouling as well? Because we've got to mention that, haven't we?
Yeah, I think most of my notes are just Xhaka has been made another foul and not been booked. And then the writing would get bigger and bigger. The more minutes it would happen.
My note on Xhaka's booking is: we know Anthony Taylor is incompetent. It just shows how incompetent he is that he can't even book Xhaka. Because we can all see it in that. He's just putting. It's like rotational fouling, but he hasn't realised it's the same person.
Yeah.
We did miss one bit from the first half. 20th minute, low Leeds free kick. Xhaka swooped to block it with his head. Martinez parries a big Bob holding header, which I think was our best attempt on goal in the first half.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, should we start with the second half? Well,
might as well.
We might
it
as
does
well
start to get better, doesn't it?
It does, yeah. Because my next note starts at 46 minutes, and if the second half's going to start on any minute, it's going to be basically that one.
Are you expecting any subs before we started, Josh?
Well, I was glad we subbed Nelson on for the second half. That's because
he turned up.
Yeah, because I wasn't exactly sure where he was. He put in a performance that I think we've seen from Hale End graduate wingers for the past, 2 decades of just going completely missing in a game. It was absolutely mad of how I couldn't really see him affecting the game at all. Like you could see Pepe doing stuff, but yeah, we
do have a history though, isn't it? It's the Theo Walcott, Alex Iwobi school of Arsenal wingers.
And Oxlade-Chamberlain, it's that kind of Bermuda Triangle of players where nothing happens in that space. But yeah, otherwise, I think they just needed the kind of proverbial rocket up the arse. I think they most certainly got that in the second half because, yeah, my first note is on Nelson. What did you make of that run, Jim? Because he came straight out the blocks, didn't he?
Yeah, I actually thought he was going to score, to be honest. It looked like he'd beaten White for pace. And then he went through him in the box, and I thought he's going to score. But honestly, as much as I've always rated Nelson, I didn't think he had it in him to make that run. And that's quite impressive from him, really.
Yeah, Danny, what did you reckon to Nelson as well in that kind of second half and particularly that kind of run?
Well, that was my first note. You breathed then and then you said more words. I've interrupted you. I'm very sorry. 46th minute, like you, my first note. That was Reiss Nelson v Leeds United. Great run by Reiss as he took on half of their defence, and that showed what the boy can do. And that's what he initially made his reputation when he was playing in Germany last season for Hoffenheim. The first half of the season when he was half decent before the second half where he didn't really do much. That's what he was doing, and that's what we need. Because if you've got a young, skillful, clever young man doing that, running at you, you're going to be thinking, oh, this isn't going to end well. And they were almost backing off of him because when someone's running at that speed, the slightest little knock, and as we've seen from some of them scumbags up the road, it's so easy in the Premier League or in English football to get free kicks on the edge of the box, and they couldn't be too careful. But yeah, really good run and unlucky not to get something out of it. Someone did say here, where was it? It was above that. Michael put Nelson in the second half could have scored 2 or 3 goals, but also Ian Wood put Xhaka turned into prime Fernandinho for the amount of fouls he got away with tonight. That's brilliant.
He did. And should we talk about the number of fouls he managed to draw as well? Because he won that free kick shortly after, Danny, which Lacazette took. A man that we're trying to speculate what he has done to be so unlucky in front of goal. I think he dropped a mirror ball in the disco, and that's why he's got 7,000 years of bad luck.
It's so weird. I mean, when he took the free kick, I thought, why is he gonna? And then before I could finish shouting, why is he gonna done that? I thought, well, the only other free kick taker we got there's Pepe. He's left-footed, and it's the wrong way around, so Lacazette had to do it, but. It was pretty close. Did it hit I think it hit the top of the top left-hand corner, didn't it? At the time, just above the crossbar. It hit the crossbar just above the little court. I don't know my shapes there. Again, that looks like I'm breakdancing. That's no good to anyone, is it? Yeah, so it's unlucky. It was on target, but these little things they're going to build up. And I don't think he's a confidence player, is he? I don't, because he knows how good he is and he scored goals his entire life. I just think it's just bad luck. He just needs some more chances. And the team is coming together. The tactics are coming together. And yeah, I think he was unlucky, but. God knows he's getting the minutes, isn't he? to try and get that goal.
Yeah, sorry. No, I just zoned out.
Oh, so it's a good sign. Is it my Christmas tree? Did it have you hypnoticized?
I was reading the chat box. Both chat boxes. I'd gone. Yeah, both eyes were split across it. Laka has another chance with Mesut Ozil playing him in, because as you said, Ozil kind of came back into this second half, didn't he? How did you think of his performance? How he came in?
Yeah, it was like a different player. It was like Ozil started to dictate the play again more, and everything Arsenal started to do was going through him, and he was making these little through balls into the box, and I think that was part of why Arsenal got the upper hand. I think because he was on the ball, and obviously Nelson as well, like we've been saying, he showed the initiative, and from that point on, probably Leeds didn't stop Ozil, and that's why Arsenal won.
Yeah, talk us through the goal, because I think Ozil's kind of key in there in the kind of build-up of that play as well, because that comes 5 minutes after that kind of opportunity.
Yeah, well, there's all that kind of passing going on at the moment, which it was pretty much like both teams had just switched shirts at halftime, but on the let's see, it was the right. It was funny because there was Pepe that was just in the middle of the pitch, and he did great work to get past some players and pull them off him, and then he did a 1-2 with Lacazette, and Lacazette, I think he passes to Ozil, like you say, and then he pings it in, and I think it was meant for Pepe, but it goes to Nelson.
Yeah, one of their defenders slid in and changed the direction of the ball.
Yeah. And Danny Murphy says that Nelson scuffs the shot into the goal, I wrote down.
I mean, there was a lot of help from the goalkeeper's head as well to really get it in, a proper bundled in goal. But would you say it's kind of, that was the difference of the two sides, wasn't it? One of them was on top for 45 minutes and with great opportunities couldn't score. We go for 15. Or more than that, 10. Yeah,
there was a stat at the end of the game that said something like Arsenal had 3 shots or attempts in the first half and Leeds had 13. Then Arsenal had 15 in the second half and Leeds had 2. And it just shows you really that if you're not taking your chances against the bigger sides, and you'd have to consider Arsenal a bigger side, then this is what happens.
Yeah, definitely. And quickly, Danny, because I've realised I haven't given the chat box any love, like some Jason-style loving. And whilst we've got Jim here, who has been promoted from the chat box, I can ask him, how do you feel when Jason does his things in the chat box and gives you a little tickle? Does it work? Does it really work?
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah.
You're being too polite, aren't you? You're too polite.
Are you enthused or scared when he does it?
I know when. Okay, basically, I feel like when the teacher shouts at the kids that they've not done the homework, so then I quickly steal someone's homework and pretend it's mine and like the YouTube.
Well, I think that's a great analogy, because I can only be the substitute teacher, because that's how I feel when I do it. And go, chat box, Archie, Thomas from Norway, who else is in there? Stefan Selby, Data KLBC, Stefo Kea, Kaito Gooner, everyone in there. There's 200 of you watching, and I'm only a supply teacher. And I've only got 51 likes. I got 2 dislikes. Come on. People don't like Jason.
We don't like Jason.
Exactly. And look, I'm only getting 2 dislikes. What is this? Tappy. Julian Nagelsmann, come on. You're on winter break. Schnell Schnell. Arbeit. Yeah, I can do it in German instead. None of this Welsh nonsense. Right. I think that's told them. I need to give them a target as well. So we're at 61 at the moment and 3 dislikes. Let's get us to 100. Go on. Let's be having you.
Thomas has picked up on the Welsh lingo. Get to tapping. Where are we to tapping from?
Welsh Justice was too busy laughing at Sokratis in that first half. And then second half, he loved him again. He was like a bouncer in a kebab house. And you can decide which person I'm talking about in that analogy. Danny, let's go back to the game because it seems like it's not really worked.
Okay, go on in.
The penalty for Lacazette, 64 minutes.
Yeah, now this is a weird one for me because I went into so much detail about that goal in the 54th minute that you didn't ask me about that I missed what happened for the next 6 minutes as I kept rewinding it to have a look. So all I've gone is 54 goals, 64. Ozil takes it wide. But I did see when I was looking at it, I went, oh, geez, something's... Oh, a donation. I did see it. So it looked like when the ball came across, it hit him in the shoulder. And then I remember going through my brain, right, is it if any part of the body that can score it's offside? I thought, no, we're talking about a penalty here. And then I thought, I'm going to give up because this commentator said that if it's a VAR-enabled stadium, then VAR is for the FA Cup. And if it's not, then don't worry about it. Well, how does this even make any kind of logical sense?
So whack. I don't understand what happened there.
Everyone's got it. No, you're not doing VAR. So to answer your question, which is unlike me, I don't think it was a penalty. I think it was ball to shoulder.
Yeah, Jim, did you think it was a penalty? I mean, Lackey gets brought down, doesn't he?
Yeah, so far as I understand the rules this week, if the ball, if the ball hits a player on any part of his body, I think that's a penalty.
If it's in the Arsenal box that they're attacking, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's a small caveat, isn't it?
Yes. But I did wonder actually if he was going to get a penalty, Lacazette, but
he would have missed.
Yeah. It was weird because he'd gone down and then kind of stood up again, and all the Leeds players just swarmed on him like bees on trash, I guess. I don't know.
Bees on trash. That's the kind of analogy I'd come up with. That's terrible.
Yeah,
bees on jam, flies on trash.
He's not trash.
No.
Yeah, anyway.
Was it a pen, Josh?
Is he honey? I've seen him given, but I think Lacazette just keeps falling over. That's his problem. And everyone's kind of going, yeah, but you fell over. Did you... He's fallen over so many times. He's like the boy that cries wolf now. He's fallen over so many times, we can't tell if it's a foul or not, or if he's just uneasy on his feet. And I mean, to be honest, in the first half, I thought he was constipated for the first 10 minutes, the way he was running around the field.
Didn't they say that in the first half about Lacazette? It looks like he's injured. He done the game when he started. Is that what you're on about? 10 minutes.
Yeah, he was waddling around the field. I was like, oh, looked like he still hadn't let go of Christmas dinner, should we say?
Maybe that's what happened at half time.
Maybe.
Everyone had a big poo.
Yeah.
Well, I can talk about the donation because it is similar, on the similar note of what happened at half time. Thank you. Is it Tierno Barry? Yes. Arteta and the ultimate hairdryer. I mean, when your hair is that perfect, and it's probably not a wig. I know Steve of the parish used to always think it was probably a wig. Not sure, but yes. He knows his way around as a hairdryer.
Someone who was on one of our shows recently, if you go and have a look in the comments, someone's been accused on ABW, well, the ABW reserves, of wearing a wig, Josh.
It can't be me.
That's not it's not me either. Someone said that a certain Cactus Cash wears a wig.
Does he?
What? I was having a whole conversation with him in the YouTube comments going, who are you on about? He said, we need to stop taking the piss out of shit beards and start taking the piss out of shit wigs.
Oh,
I hope
wow.
he doesn't. What if he's ill and he does? Jesus. Forget I said that. Move on.
Do you reckon if he sneezes on cam, we can get it to come off? We'll get more viewers than we've ever had for a live show.
What we'll have to do is just get him to keep nodding all the time. Just say stuff that you know he's going to agree with and see if it slips. And once it's down to about there, then we know it is or isn't.
Oh, sorry, Richard. If you are listening, please come back on. We do like you. You know you're one of us now that we're nice to you, that we're horrible to you. And also, talking about horrible to people, 68 likes, fucking sort it out, guys. It's disgusting. Right, sub. Nelson comes off, and the prodigal child, the rebirth of Ronaldo, pick whichever one you want. Martinelli comes onto the field. Jim, I've seen you're a big fan because I've seen you write it in the chat box already today about Martinelli. What did you think of him coming on at this point?
Yeah, I thought he was going to score. There was a stat, something like he'd scored in every debut he's made or something so far for Arsenal. So there was tweets going around like people wanted him to score just so they could tweet that. But he's just energy, and he's just everything you want in a attacker. And I think he was unlucky not to score today as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree. He had some absolutely superb touches. He's almost showing Lacazette how to kind of do it. Get through. You can tell there's a guy who's got his mojo back. Danny, do you have anything to talk about Martinelli? Because you keep getting annoyed that I miss you out.
73rd minute, Martinelli, great chance, crowded by two defenders, out for a corner, and then Lacazette tripped someone up. I don't know what that was. 75th minute, because it all was going off for about the 70th minute. You could see that Leeds were actually running out of energy. They brought on a couple of subs, still didn't do it. 75, another great weaving player, dodging run by Martinelli, puts it wide, superb attempt and superb skill. And then up at 78th minute, 3 attacks from Arsenal, and Leeds are looking tired and vulnerable. So there you go. We've got a Man United fan in the chat box having a moan. So I just thought, could anybody remember the result from last week? So I've forgotten.
Oh, a Man U fan?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Was he at our game today? Because, it's
Probably
closer to his house than Manchester.
They all live in Essex, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, that's why there was such a late kickoff, wasn't it? Because the Manx didn't have to go that far home. You should say, Danny, as well, you missed in your notes, 70th minute, a yellow card for one of our players, and it wasn't who you thought it was. It was the frigid left back.
Mr. Kolasinac, yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He looked quite angry at that, didn't he?
He looked more angry than I think I've seen him look for a while. What else have we got? Did you mention Sokratis' free header, Danny, from the corner?
The last note I've got is
74 minutes.
Oh no, I'm not up to that. Yeah, I'm up to that. At the 74th minute, that was all my Martinelli loveliness. So I've tried to save you 8 minutes there. I'll give you the chance. I laid it off to you, and you missed it. You went full Lacazette on me.
I did go full Lacazette. So we can go into the substitution of Mesut Ozil. I don't think Mesut Ozil looks happy any time, does he?
Never looks happy.
Yeah, Jim, have you ever seen Mesut Ozil look happy?
Trying to think now.
He once smiled in his headband days.
Yeah, I think there was a moment where he kicked some gloves, and he picked out someone in the crowd with the gloves, and that was quite a happy moment for him.
You've said something that I was going to go for a lot worse reference, and I'm so glad you've done it, and I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to mention it.
Self-control.
I've learned something. This is my New Year's resolution. I'm not going to mention Mesut Ozil looking happy on his wedding day when he's standing next to a dictator.
We're not doing the political stuff, Josh.
No, we don't do the political stuff in 2020. It's fine. There's enough of that going on. We're not all Ricky Gervais. Exactly. So,
that was brilliant, though, wasn't it?
It was pretty good.
Dean Harper says at least Ozil clapped this time, which is, that's a good sign.
He did a couple of claps. Even took his gloves off so you could hear it as well. Not like one of those gloved claps. I always wonder why you do that.
I was going to say, if you started doing more about Ozil, the Chinese audience might increase.
If we're horrible about him, that is a huge market. Have any of you got a Chinese team you support? I've tried picking one, but
no, I tried watching the CSL for a bit. It was really good. I love it. It was really rubbish. Don't tell the Chinese.
I loved it.
It's worse than League Two.
Your Facebook account's just been deleted.
Yeah, everything. I'm going to end up with so much shit now. Oh well. It was nice knowing you guys.
I watched some of it. Actually, I thought it wasn't too bad. They've got so many really good players over there. If Jorginho couldn't make it there, then no one's going to. No,
there were a couple of good ones I saw. Oh, who was it? There was a Brazilian guy who was playing for Guangzhou Evergrande. He was really good. But no, it was one that you're like, he wasn't like one of their big signings, like one of their star players. He came straight from Brazil. I can't remember what his name was, but he looked all right. I think he was their captain for a bit. But the problem is, when you're tracking any Brazilian player, they've all got monosyllabic names. You're like, probably Fred, might have been, I don't know, pick another name. There's probably a Brazilian called Jim, to be honest,
Josh,
isn't there?
problem.
Josh, what's happened?
We got a grass. Look what
Fresh
Archie's
start
put.
for players, Arteta, and you guys are talking about blood.
Then look what he puts.
I'm telling Jason.
Quick, we'll get on with it. Let's talk football. He's going to
No, he won't.
We'll be in trouble. We won't be allowed to do it again.
It's fine. It's fine. Jason likes me, I think. We could talk about Bielsa if we want.
Go on then.
I was very happy when I saw the 3-3-1-3 in the first 10 minutes. That got my little hipster penis up erect. It was amazing. I haven't seen it.
Everyone.
I haven't seen it in a while. Not my hipster penis, I should say. The
formation.
Yeah, the formation. Oh, it's great. It was great to see how. And I know it was against Arsenal, but that midfield just destroyed us in the first half, where it split out wide. The three went really wide in attack. So Xhaka and Guendouzi just went with the two wide men. So they was completely free in the middle, which is what they were highlighting on Match of the Day with Ian Wright going, Ozil just needs to drop into that space, and there's acres in there. But in defence, they just closed up, and they were like, you shall not pass. We just couldn't get through it. It's amazing. I loved it. I was so happy, except, well, it was 0-0. So if we'd conceded, I'd have been fucking livid. But just watching it is, a bit of a Bielsa masterclass. What else have we got?
What is it with him and that little stool, little mushroom that he sits on?
The
commentator made a point of pointing out that he's brought it with him.
Yeah, he likes sitting on a bucket. I thought it's gone back to like his Marseille days and further than that. I don't know if there's a thing going around, Jim. Does he keep like a couple of cold ones in there?
He should do with the way Leeds play, but it's supposedly because like there's all manner of fables about it, but it's supposed to be because he's got a bad back. But I think you'd have a bad back sitting like that.
Is it one of those like you sit on a yoga ball at your desk instead because it's better for your posture?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous last year, because he was sitting there and he just kept getting questions about it. And then Leeds started selling these buckets for £80 in the club shop.
Don't mention that. Gav will be onto it next week. You'll have a brief banana one online within 20 minutes.
Oh dear. And reasonably priced. That's shewar.com. Go to their shop. My super duper thingy bob and go and buy all of his stuff. He'll be back on soon. Not sure when. Soon.
When he needs to plug something, I'm sure.
He said he didn't want to. I said, you're more than welcome to the amount of times you've helped us. He said, no, not going to. So I said, fuck off.
We do it naturally like we already have. I do remember, and if anyone wants to see it, him sitting on his cup of tea at Marseille. Yes. That's excellent. It's even a GIF. I found that on WhatsApp.
He sat on a cup of tea. He didn't know it was there.
Yes, he's got up. He's shouting action. Someone put a cup of tea on it for him. He just sits down on it.
Oh no!
He's so good. Talking about shithousery moves, should we talk about Sokratis?
Can I tell you what I put as my notes?
Yeah.
86th minute, a triple teabagging attempt by the Leeds players on Sokratis.
Oh,
that reminds me when I used to play Call of Duty, teabagging the dead.
Wow, if there's ever a title for the podcast, we get that.
Yeah. That could be a new podcast. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. Jim, what did you reckon to Sokratis? Because it was one of the best bits of his play, wasn't it?
It was both hilarious and ridiculous. He just goes, I've had enough. I fancy sit down. So he just sits down in the corner and Leeds just swarm at him and the kicking the ball. And I think Harrison goes flying and then somehow manages to do a flying knee on him. And well, somehow he got someone got a booking for that somewhere along the lines, I think. Did they?
I'm not even sure they did, but I'm not surprised if someone did, because it was just, there were legs, there were limbs everywhere. It was absolutely mental. And talking about kind of the time wasting, Danny, I know you've got many notes, and Jim, you've got many notes. Have you got any more after the sock shit housing? Because I have to
no,
say,
not really.
I started writing an email.
I was maybe watching something on Channel 4, so no, I'm just looking through the questions, Josh, if you've missed any.
I've missed lots probably because I've only picked 3. I'm going to talk to the chat box. Chat box, how's it going? Have you got any questions for us? Oh, I've seen Michael's put one. I haven't got that. Have you got that one, Danny?
I'm just about to cut and paste it in.
Oh, have we got any questions for us? You know, we've got fresh blood on the pod tonight.
Yes. You can ask him how much did it cost to come on? £20,000 in used £1 notes. Completely useless to all of us. He did us there.
Yeah. It was even, some of it was Monopoly money as well, to be honest. We were had. What else do you want to ask? You can ask us anything else. Zoidberg has asked you, Danny, were you watching Naked Attraction?
Oh, I can't watch that. There's no way I'm looking at another gentleman's sausage. I don't need that. If I haven't seen my own in years, why should I look at someone else's?
My friend that does the Man City social media, she come over from America, and she was flicking through the channels, and Naked Attraction was on, and she goes, "You Brits actually have this?" And she was just completely shocked.
It reminds me, my favourite people on telly are, is it the Siddiquis on Gogglebox? And a few years ago, they were looking at something, and he looked at the camera and he went, "If this is what they're showing, imagine the shit they turned down."
Very true.
I think it's the Siddiquis, isn't it? Or was that the Mayor of London? Who are they? There's the 2 brothers and the dad. They're the best part. Oh, and the Nutty. Don't get me started on Gogglebox. Greatest show on telly.
I haven't watched Gogglebox in quite a few years. I can't help. Sorry. But I'm just looking through. Oh, we've got Kelly is in the box as well.
She should be giving me grief about why I've got a tree.
Oh, sorry. She's given us grief to say it's nice that John and Chris aren't here, though. But Chris is never here. I mean, it shows how often Kelly comes to the show. She thinks Chris is on often. But yes, if you do have any questions, I'm sure Danny has got them.
I've just put 3 more in there. 4 more.
Excellent. Would you like to ask them?
I will start at the top and work my way down. It's like I am with the strippers. But then actually I would never go. I'd be too embarrassed because they're going to be all over me. You know what they're like, ladies with loose morals.
Strippers are weird. You know, strip clubs are weird. Like you go in. To be fair, the beer's really cheap, but then you just come out with a boner and you're like, what am I doing with this? What am I going to do with this? Fuck's sake.
A little bit of blue for the dads there.
Yeah.
Right, Pete, let's start off with Jim. Pete Coulson asks, why were the BBC wanking over Bielsa like a modern day Brian Clough?
I think it's fashionable these days to say how great he is more than actually think he's great. Like I personally, and a lot of the people I read on, like the sports writers, think he's great because of all the people he's influenced throughout his career. Your Potocchinos, Guardiolas, and Batistutas, and the people he's coached. But then, I don't know, like people like Gary Neville and Danny Murphy, how much have they known of him? I don't know.
Yeah, because it was. I mean, I'm 49, and Clough is a very vague memory in my distant memories because I remember the final against Spurs when that was the only trophy he hadn't won with Forest, and then Gaza decided to try and kill one of their players, and they didn't win that. I think that was one of his last games. So he must have retired in the early 30s, in his the early 90s. But he's one hell of a player. You go and have a look at Wikipedia at Brian Clough and have a look at his goals per games ratio for, I think it was Middlesbrough. Magnificent ratio for back then. You got any wise words on that, Josh?
Bielsa, the godfather of football. I think, I agree with Jim. I think there's a lot of people that jumped on that bandwagon. You know, it's a little bit, and I don't want to side with Neil Custis. But you know when he goes off on one about the Libertadores and that being the hipsters Champions League final or World Cup, it is a little bit like that a lot of people have jumped on that bandwagon. I don't want to say, oh, I like Bielsa before he was cool and all of that.
I remember Bielsa when he was managing when he was a 6-year-old.
Yeah, exactly. You remember him when he was getting out his little Lego and positioning it in the right places. Yeah, absolutely. Right. But in terms of that kind of massive loving, I think it's one of those they're just trying to make up for lost time, really, because I think a lot of people that know football know Bielsa, and they're just slowly bringing it to the forefront. I think anybody that did know when he was appointed were really happy about his appointment because he's a huge manager to come to. You know, I know Leeds are a huge club, but they're second division at the time, and for him to make that kind of step, but he's never made. I suppose when you go through, because I was doing this earlier during the game, was educating one of my mates on Bielsa, who had no idea who he was and was wondering about the fanfare. And we're like, basically, imagine playing Football Manager. He's had that kind of career. He's not done a lot, but he's done a lot of interesting things. He's not his honours. He hasn't had honours past. Well, it was like Bilbao when he got to Europa League final and the Copa del Rey. But that's the last two things he's done since he left Argentina in terms of club football. Europe, in terms of Olympics, he's done great things there. He's basically revolutionized South American football from that kind of Argentina and Chile. But yeah, I think it's that case of, people are just slowly getting onto it. And the BBC have gone, oh, let's ask these people who we know have never heard of Bielsa's name before talk about Bielsa. It's like, you could easily have got someone like Roberto Martinez in on that studio to talk about him. Or as you say, Pochettino, what's he doing at the moment? Sweet FA, get him in there. He can talk about the Arsenal. He knows he loves them, really. Loves us. But he could at least talk about them. You've got Pep Guardiola's. There's so many people around there that could have talked about him in a more convincing way. I think is probably the right way to describe it.
Okay, fair enough. He's 64 years old. He's had 12 jobs as a manager, and he won the 2004 Summer Olympics. Well, obviously, because they don't have football in the Winter Olympics, not that I know of. And like you're saying, runners up in those two things. Yeah, right.
He was also at Lazio for 2 days.
6th of July to the 8th of July 2016. And some would say he did well to stay there so long.
Went there, they lied to him, and then he left. And they're like, what?
Yes. Right. Like, question from Daytac. She says, who is for you, Jim? Who gets dropped for Palace? Holding and Martinez for sure. Who else? Realistically, not ones that you want to get dropped.
Okay. I'd say Guendouzi maybe for Torreira, because Torreira has to play. I think Sokratis.
Ceballos. Yeah, Ceballos was back on the bench, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. Sokratis, I don't know, does he go back into centre defence now? And to be honest, as much as Pepe did a lot in the second half, I'm not sure about how he was in the first half, because I thought his work rate, as much as the rest of the team wasn't amazing, I thought his work rate wasn't that good in the first half. So I'd have questions about maybe Nelson playing instead.
Josh, if you can answer it in 3 seconds, you can have a go on that, because we want to ask more questions.
No, I can't.
Fair enough. Right, one for you, Josh. Michael Harniman. Was anyone going to get past Sokratis today? He went full on WWE on 3 Leeds players. Yeah, so he put the WWE and the 3 so close together it looked like World War III. And as that's going to happen anyway, I'll just preempting shit.
I mean, I would be doing Jason a disservice if I didn't say that for the previous 85 minutes, he was letting people past him left, right, and centre. Alioski was just ruining him for that entire first half. He does. Looks less like a war criminal than he used to. That's all I'll say on it.
I hope whoever sets up the Twitter account out of context ABW, you tonight, you are going to have rich pickings.
Yeah.
All right. So next question. I hope you've proofread these.
No.
Oh, okay, yeah, this is not a bad one from Pete Coulson. This is for you, Jim. Despite your I think he means, I don't know who he means. I've never said anything bad about Ozil ever. Despite your anti-Mesut rhetoric, can he play a huge part for the rest of the season, or are you wrong again? Cheers, Pete.
Well, it's funny because I get called a Ozil fanboy on Twitter at least once a week. But yes, he can, as long as the screening defenders, midfielders, let him play his game and not defend. And he has weekly breaks before games.
There you go. Right, and the next question is, that's for Jim. I can't ask that one. Right, for Josh from Archie. The grass. Archie the grass, as he should change his name to. If we buy Jerome Boateng, shall we hire a hit on Raul and Edu? That's unacceptable. Does that mean he doesn't really like him?
I've got a feeling that he might not be a fan of Jerome Boateng, and then therefore not a fan of Raul Sanyehi and maybe Edu. Yeah, I think maybe a drone strike might not be out of the question.
Again. What if YouTube checks this and then we get loads of people think there's going to be that kind of information because it translates it all? That's why we get.
Actually, yeah, I should probably say, please, just in case it does happen in the future, please do not put a drone strike out on Raul Sanyehi and Edu.
Thank you.
From Edu. What's Edu's real name? Tonight. Yeah, sorry.
Edu Gaspard.
That's it. That one. Or Jerome Boateng as well. All of those people. Don't do it.
Don't
be good, kids.
Is he no good?
He is a little bit old, a little bit slow, and a little bit past it. So I don't understand. He sounds like a perfect centre back for Arsenal.
Has he ever played for Borussia Dortmund? Because if he is, he's in.
Sven's seen him at least once.
Data has asked, we're going to call data from now on because the rest of the things we always fuck up on. So Data asked you, Jim, what is that wallpaper or paint?
It's wallpaper.
There you go. That's the answer we looked for. Right. Another question for you, Josh, from Thomas in Norway. Any chance we'll win the Europa League or the FA Cup? Have faith in the Arteta era.
Oh, this season? I think we could. Yeah, why not? Why can't we?
Nodding.
I think to be fair, it's kind of cliche, but they're all one-off games, aren't they? Form kind of goes out the window.
Well,
then again, we've got
back-to-back wins, back-to-back clean sheets. It's back on.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to go invincible, aren't we?
We certainly are. Right. A question from Data again for all of us. Do you pronounce the T in often? See what I did there? Often.
Not often enough.
The T in often. Well, I've got a tooth missing, which I'm going to have to get it fixed sooner or later. But often. No, sometimes I do. Jim, do you have the letter T that far up north?
Often, I suppose.
Oh, there we go. Gone all posh.
Oh.
No. I think I'd be called posh if I said often too much times up here.
Josh is a man of multi-languages. He does Northern and he does Southern.
Yeah. Yeah, multilingual. Yes, I do say it often, but depends.
Okay, right. Stay with you, Josh. From Richard Garrett. Am I the only person that thinks Lacazette is overrated and not all that? Imagine if Lacazette was listening. Dear.
I don't think so. I think half of my Twitter timeline believe that Lacazette is overrated and not all of that. I just think he's woefully out of form. He needs a goal to go in. You know when I can't remember which way around they did it now. Who gave the penalty to who out of Aubameyang and Lacazette when one of them was horribly out of form?
Aubameyang,
so they could score,
didn't he?
Yeah, I think it's the same kind of thing needs to happen again. It's just he needs one to go in off his arse, to be honest, and that will kind of get there because we saw in the second half what he can do in terms of his all-round play. I think he's doing that great for us, and to be honest. They've also there's a striker on the opposite side for us who was exactly the same. At the moment can't hit. Well, actually, I don't think Bamford has ever hit a banjo with a barn door or vice versa. Any combination of that analogy, but there's a reason why Nketiah didn't start for Leeds. And it's not because Bielsa didn't like him, it's because of what Bamford does on the field. And it's similar for Lacazette. It's the way he brings players in. You saw those little flicks that he was doing near the end of the game, bringing in Kolasinac for the overlaps. He's got a bit more to his game. I think once he gets a goal, it'll be like buses, and he'll just keep going. But it's until that moment. It's like when Giroud went 15 games without scoring a bloody goal.
Was that he lost us the league?
Oh, I mean, to be honest, you could pick any season out when Giroud went on a goal drought of 15 games back to back. But it's really similar. And
okay, got another question then we don't have to answer this question from Sefo Kaya. Should we, from now on, only employ managers that start with their names with an AR just because that'd be funny? And to save us answering it, Michael Harnham has put Arsene as our next manager.
Excellent. I couldn't think of anyone else up again with an AR.
Richard Garrett has we've done that one. I'm just scrolling down through your timeline ones that I didn't have to. Here we go. Michael Harneman, thoughts on the draw? Do you think we can get past Bournemouth, or would you take winning the FA Cup this season as a successful season, considering that we've had so much change? I don't know what the draw is. Has it been done?
Yeah, it was done before the game, Danny.
So we've got Bournemouth, home or away?
We are away to Bournemouth.
Oh, is that been a Brighton boy? You hate them, don't you?
Fuck off. It's not a proper derby. Oh, you're just going, it's down there somewhere. It's like asking is Leeds
to the same.
It's like going, is Leeds Newcastle a derby?
Well, you're all on the sea. You
about,
and Chris.
About a similar distance. Yep, that's the well-known Norwich Plymouth derby because they're all coastal. Yeah.
I always like that when there's the Brighton and Crystal Palace derby because they both have birds for badges.
Oh no, yeah, that one's a weird one as well because that's only a derby because Terry Venables hated what's his face in the 80s. And then what else is there about that? Oh, it's called the M23 Derby, a motorway that is not in Crystal Palace and is not in Brighton. Whatever.
We've had an answer to the next manager whose name begins with AR.
Julian Argusman.
Yes, no.
Has given us a...
It's because it's Ariane Hadari.
Oh, yeah.
But nobody knows that. So I don't know what you're on about, Julian.
That is true.
There's tidy for you. Josh, you've been going an hour and 2 minutes. We need to get this shit up in an hour. People have got things to do.
Sorry. I'm going to take that away and shout at Stefan in a WhatsApp group instead about how Palace is the closest club to Brighton. Palace's closest club is Millwall, but they're massive fucking pussies and not dealing with having a proper thing. So they're picking on Brighton, who had a nice little rivalry with Lewis or Crawley. If you're going to go with that. That's their kind of level. Palace could have anyone from London, but no, they're like, we're too scared because we're the massive pussies of London.
Oh, look what date is for Giroud, that handsome man, won the World Cup without scoring a goal.
Yep.
Oh, there we go.
Right. Should we wrap this up, Danny?
Yes.
I think. Thank you, everybody that has been in the chat box. All 205 of you now. And I've seen there's some latecomers coming in.
With their time, for God's sake.
I know. I've only got 80 thumbs up, though. But I've got 4 thumbs down, so I'm enjoying that. If you can get to a net 100, I'm happy.
We should try getting Jim to get angry, because Jim doesn't look like he's ever had an angry day in his life. Maybe if Jim got angry and waved his finger at him and told him to thumbs up. Try it, Jim. See what you can do. See if you can work some magic. Oh, fucking hell. I'm scared.
Bloody hell.
Oh, watch these go up now. If we don't make 1,000 thumbs up after that. 82.
There we go. See, that's what we'll do. We'll start selling this slot for people just to go tappy. No, we won't do that. Guest appearance. I wonder who we could get for like 20 quid. I'm sure I can find someone. Anyway, big thank you to Brendan, Michael, Ed, and Tino. Oh, and Julian Nagelsmann.
Yes.
Who I haven't written down. No. I do remember. Gave us a donation. Thank you very much. We will be back on... I'll say thanks to you guys first.
Podcast on Wednesday.
You've got Fifey, Carl.
Yep.
You know, you always get those two together. Don't know why.
I'll try and get them out of the way early.
Is it just because of all their like tube escapades that you get them on? Get him on early.
An hour and a half of Fife shouting at Carl, "I have to walk to work every bloody week, and it's all your fault, you shite house." And then Carl will get in his Q7 and go and run him over, or whatever big 4x4 he's got now. I can't remember.
Yeah, I think Fifey now has to get a Boris bike to work in his no doubt £4,000 suit that he wears. And I'd say big thank you to Jim as well, because without you, we wouldn't have got those 4 extra thumbs up.
It would have been pointless.
But yeah, great debut.
Well, thank you. It was a hard job, but someone had to do it.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult to step up from Jason, but I think we found somebody who could quite easily fill his boots. And Danny,
yes.
I know I've pissed him off a lot, so it was nice. It was nice seeing you.
Yeah, you were never going to be seen again. You were maybe floating down the Thames or whatever near where you are.
I'll probably be in the 7, knowing Jason the next time I see him.
Well, thank you very much for hosting. It was a fine way to end your ABW career.
Yes, thank you all. If I do see you again, it's been great. And I think that's it, isn't it?
Yes.
Because I can't remember who we're playing next. Oh, Palace. And Jason hasn't put the lineup in, from what I remember.
It's a 12:30 kickoff, and I think John might be on. I'm definitely won't be on. I'll be asleep. You have to text me the result.
Oh, God, he's here. Right, Danny, turn this shit off.
Shit.
Bye, Jason.
Tappy, you bastards.
Yeah, see, he's here now.
All right, I'm pressing stop.
Say his name 3 times.